Likes on their own, that's not currency. That doesn't do anything on its own. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome. If you're new, you are probably here because you've heard the news that Instagram is going to be testing hiding likes on the platform here in the US starting next week, aka tomorrow, I'm guessing. So I hopped on Twitter last night and I just kind of wanted to hear what people had to say about it. And actually I wasn't even looking for it. It just happened. It was like a dumpster fire. It was panic. It was making me extremely anxious reading it. So I wanted to hop on here and chat about it, give my opinion and kind of my insight on what's really going on. So in case you are wondering why I'm talking about this or why I might have some insight into this, I am a freelance social media marketer. I have been a social media manager for several years, and I've also worked on kind of the influencer marketing side as well. So I've worked for influencer marketing platforms, I've ran influencer campaigns for my clients, and I also am a very small creator. As you can see here, I have a very small YouTube following and Instagram following. I have about 5K on Instagram. Even with that though, I have been able to work with some pretty amazing brands, from Tom's to Foot Locker to several different automotive brands like Hyundai and things like that. So yeah, I have a little bit of things to say from kind of both perspectives, and I have some notes here because I want to stay on track. So first thing I want to, mention here, this is from an NPR article. The founder or CEO, I think he's the CEO of Instagram, he said that the platform will not impact the whole US at once. So this is the first thing I want you guys all to keep in mind is this is not going to be like tomorrow we're going to wake up and our Instagrams are going to be gone and we're going to have 0 likes and it's going to be crickets on every picture. This is going to be a slow rollout. That's how Facebook, which is the company that owns Instagram, that's how they typically roll out their new features. They roll them out slowly. So just want you guys to keep that in mind. So anyway, he says it's intended to depressurize the platform, particularly for younger users. It's about young people. The idea is to try to depressurize Instagram, making it less of a competition and give people more space to focus on connecting with people that they love and things that inspire them. So I think it's a noble cause. I think that this is a whole other topic. Maybe we'll do another video on this in the future, but I think that from that aspect, from a mental health aspect and competition and all that stuff, I think this is a good move. Now, one of the big criticisms that I saw on Twitter last night, people were saying that this is a great way for Instagram to encourage less influencer partnerships and more ad spend on the platform, which I think is a valid concern. And I think maybe a little bit true, who knows? I don't know. I'm not Instagram. Let's break this down. So the concept is brands right now can reach out to any influencer that they want to. They can look at their profiles, see how they kind of fit in with their brand, look at their metrics to some extent. I want you to keep this in mind, some extent, likes, followers, and comments. And they can see if they'd be a good fit for them and reach out, and they can have a whole business deal without Instagram ever being involved in it, really. The theory is that Instagram wants to have a piece of that pie, essentially, and they want to get brands to instead pay for advertising through Facebook Ad Manager, Instagram ads, whatever, and spend that money on their platform versus on independent content creators. So a couple things on that. Again, I think that's valid. I'm on everybody's side. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy here, but Instagram is not hiding insights. And this has actually already been tested in Australia, and I believe it's Ireland. So if you are from one of those countries, I'd love to hear from you down below and let me know how it's been going. But they're not hiding insights. So you as an influencer or creator will still have access to see how many likes you're getting, how much engagement your content is getting, how many impressions, how much reach your content is getting. Now the brand will not have access to that information besides seeing your comments and your followers, but they can ask for it. And my tweet yesterday basically said that, if you haven't been asking for this stuff all along, you may have been doing it slightly wrong. Now, again, I don't want to be negative. I don't want to tear anyone down, whatever. But my point is that to run a truly successful influencer campaign or a marketing campaign in general, you need to be having that full path. You can't just be looking at what I call vanity metrics, which are likes, which are followers, which are even comments to some extent, because even those are getting kind of automated. You have to be looking at the full path. So what is the full path? If I hire an influencer to do a campaign for, let's just say, some random handbag line, I'm going to give that influencer a coupon code so that she can encourage purchases among her follower base, because the goal of the campaign is not usually, it's not likes, right? Because likes on their own, that's not currency. That doesn't do anything on its own. The goal of the campaign is to sell more purses. So I'm gonna give the creator a coupon code to send to their followers and encourage their followers to use that coupon code. That's gonna be a marker for me. So when I'm going through transactions that month, I can see, okay, coupon code Latasha 25, we got 500 signups from that, or 500 purchases, whatever. I might also give her or them, whoever it is, a tracking link. So I will at least be able to see maybe how many people went to the site and looked around at it and thought about purchasing, but maybe didn't fully purchase. So I might be able to see, you know what, Latasha 25, that code generated us 500 sales and it generated 1,500 in traffic. So that's kind of a couple of things that you can do when you're doing a traffic-based campaign, meaning the goal is to increase sales. Now I know what you're thinking. Number one, Instagram really doesn't allow for a lot of links. So doing a traffic-based campaign isn't always necessarily what the brand is looking for. And number two, sometimes your brand might have other goals. You know, it might not just be to sell things, it might be to raise awareness about your product or service, and that is valid. That is definitely a marketing objective. However, that objective is not only measured by likes. In fact, likes is again, not really the primary objective there. Awareness metrics include reach and impressions. So impressions are the number of times that that content was seen around Instagram. Reach is the number of accounts that it made its way to, essentially. So those are good metrics to go by because that actually tells how many people saw your account. So, you know, when they say like all press is good press, I kind of think this is, I mean, I'm not a PR person, so I don't really think that's true personally, in my humble opinion, but I do think that this is kind of related to this topic because just because I don't like something doesn't mean that it doesn't stick with me, doesn't mean that I'm not aware of the brand. An example of this, Kim Kardashian. I don't follow Kim Kardashian. I don't remember the last time I liked one of her photos, if ever, but she still makes her way into my Instagram experience sometimes because people will share her stuff onto their stories and I watch their stories, or I will look at the Discover page and I'll see things. And if she's promoting a brand or if she's promoting her own makeup line or her own shapewear line, I am still aware of that. Even though I don't follow her, even though I'm not liking those pictures constantly or ever, I'm still aware of her businesses and her brands and the things she's promoting. So that's why an awareness metric should be reach or impressions versus likes. I hope that makes sense. So most important thing here, you know, likes do not equal success. Likes are really just, they can be an indicator, I think, as an independent creator. I think that they can be an indicator of, hey, my audience is liking, they're picking up what I'm putting down, you know, they're liking the types of content that I'm shooting, but they're really not everything. I mean, there's been so many times when I'm scrolling through and I'm really engaged in the caption and I'm like reading it like a blog post and I immediately go to comment instead of liking. Or they'll write about something and they say link in my bio to listen to this latest podcast and I immediately go to the link in the bio instead of liking or commenting. I do that all the time. I just did that with like a, I don't know, Marie Forleo poster, one of those, some marketing person. I remember doing that. So likes are not everything. Lastly, and most importantly, you guys, I've talked about this before. I don't want to, you know, preach here, but it's really important that Instagram is not the only thing that we're concerned about when we're building a business. And if you're an influencer, you're building a business and you need to start thinking about it that way, you guys. I think that's incredibly important. Instagram is one piece of the pie, right? It's one marketing channel. YouTube is one marketing channel. It is not my marketing plan. It is not it. You know, I want YouTube to stay around because it is my main platform. It is the main way that I communicate with you guys, but it's not the only way. And if something happens with YouTube, knock on wood, because I don't want it to, but if it does, I still have other ways of contacting you. I still have other ways of spreading my message. I still have my email list. If you take nothing else away from this video, I know you probably hear it all the time, but start an email list. You can start free email lists on MailChimp, on MailerLite. I'm really liking MailerLite right now. Get your audience over to an email list. That is something that you own. You know, you have their emails. You can collect them and store them yourself and keep track of them so that if Instagram goes down or if Instagram makes it really hard for people to see your content, you can email them directly about whatever it is that you want them to do. You know, whether it's engage with your content or buy your product or your service or something like that. I see how hard people work on Instagram. there are artists on Instagram, okay? There are like serious photographers, serious videographers, makeup artists, like amazing work and time and energy and effort. Don't let it go to waste. So make sure that you have a home base, that you're owning your audience to some extent, because by relying only on Instagram to carry your message or to, result in brand partnerships for you, to be your only income source, you're putting faith in some corporation hands who like really doesn't know you or really care about you as a person. I always recommend at least 5 revenue streams, at least 5 streams of lead generation. So places where you know that you can reach your ideal client, there should be like 5-ish, and not all of them have to be on the internet. I want you to keep that in mind. That's a whole other story for another day. But that's what I recommend. And it doesn't mean that you have to spread yourself too thin. You could have a major platform. Instagram might be your main place. For me, YouTube is my main place where I go to reach my audience, but it's not the only place. So anyway, that's kind of the most important thing here. So key takeaways, get to know those insights. Be proactive too if you're an influencer. Get to know your insights. Be able to speak to your engagement rate. Be able to speak to your reach and your impressions, not just your likes or your follower count. So learn those things inside and out. There's plenty of resources online. Develop an email list and get people over there. And if you are a marketer, which a lot of people who watch my channel are other marketers, be proactive about asking for those metrics. Ask them to send you over screenshots of their metrics. Someone that I follow, she did respond to my tweet and said something really important. And she said, well, basically it kind of creates a barrier, because before, likes were a good way for me to judge or gauge whether or not the influencer was legit, and they weren't just buying followers, because the like to follower ratio and all that stuff, which is very, very valid. And I totally understand that, but we can look in other places like comments, or we can also ask for those metrics being sent over to us. I know that it's another step. I agree. That is kind of a bummer for us, but it's not the end of the world. I understand. I totally understand that concern, but it's not the end of the world. And I think that as long as we're being smart about it, and as long as influencers are being proactive about it and knowing those metrics, if you're pitching to a company, be able to say your engagement rate off the bat instead of waiting for them to ask you. You're going to save us or save them a step, and they're probably going to be more willing to work with you if you know your business and know your impact that you're having. Know that, business impact that you're having, and not just a vanity metric, something like, oh, I have this many likes. So that's kind of my thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about it. And by the way, if you are interested in getting into this industry of social media management, I do have a free guide. It's a 10-step guide, totally free. Go ahead and click on the link in my description box if you want to download that. And otherwise, be sure to subscribe. This probably is not the first video of mine that you're watching. I know that from my analytics, so go ahead and subscribe. I don't know what you're waiting for. You can also thumbs up the video if it was helpful, speaking of likes. And you know what? I never asked you guys to do this, but follow me on Instagram. I'm the Latasha James. We can go like each other's posts that we won't be able to see the number of, but it's fine. You can follow me on there. I post sometimes, but yeah. Thanks, hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.